Well, hello out there and welcome back. And this is episode 14 titled The Police as the World Grows Smaller, Zach Galifinakis and Obama, the Digital World, and the Analog Mind. Hope you enjoy as I took a break from the episodes to play some of my music. I'll be going in and out of each to break the monotony of each, as they do get a bit tiring for both you and I, especially the music portion, which is much more difficult to do than I expected as I had to do repeated takes from all my mistakes. But anyways, as I say, I've got nothing better to do, and I expect to have approximately 15 or so videos to go with my talking episodes. So you never suffered through that. It now seems that here in the U.S., we need to protect our citizens from the police rather than having the police serve us and protect our citizens. I know that being a police officer is a very stressful job, and I don't disrespect the police, and I'm not about defunding the police. It is a critical profession, absolutely. But there are some that just don't seem to be able to handle the job. I know I couldn't. And I think that quite a few policemen and policewomen are not up to the job requirements. I have nothing against them, but the statistics and the cameras speak for themselves. And as the world grows smaller, more interconnected and global, indigenous cultures are starting to disappear. And it's almost as if the people from the Amazon in South America are, well, shopping on Amazon. In Zach Galifinakis' Genius, he asked President Barack Obama right after Trump became our president, what's it like to be the last black president? Which I thought was pretty funny. Many of us knew exactly what he meant, especially going from Obama to Trump. Today we live in a digital world now, but the human brain is an analog computer. Analog and digital don't mix. It's like two people speaking different languages that neither understand. And since I've walked through Grand Central Terminal for 34 years, I can't help but imagine that I'm in quite a few photographs since cameras are going off every few seconds walking through the main concourse. I've actually attempted to avoid being in some photos, but you have to be a kickoff return specialist to be able to elude the multitude of humanity there taking photos or videos. And on the flip side, pictures today have little value since it's estimated that 1.4 trillion photos were taken in 2020, which obviously deflates the value of each photo. This was a classic moment. My wife called me at work one morning and told me that I forgot to take the handicap parking permit out of my car since we use it for both cars when we go somewhere since she's had both hips replaced. And she also told me that she needed it for her Zumba class at LA Fitness. Yes, and I repeat, she needed a handicap parking permit to do a Zumba exercise class. You can't make this stuff up. And I did ask her to think about what she had just told me. And it does point to the success of her hip replacements. A few years ago, our company had a local deli come in and make us smoothies on a Friday afternoon. And when I was waiting in line for my California Dreamin' smoothie, I suggested to the two smoothie makers that they should have a tip jar and then informed them that I would not be leaving a tip, but other people might. They didn't reply to that. I do clown around a bit too often. I recall this incident a few years back, when a coworker and I shared a few text exchanges, and I told her that I would prefer gossip-only texts and that I was getting tired of business texts. She did not respond. So I later told my wife that some people I work with are just not shallow enough for me. And of course, my wife, as she commonly does with my whimsical conversations, walked away stating that I was going to go take a shower and I'm going to wash my hair. So I told her that she isn't shallow enough either and you're no fun. What is this world coming to? Are there no shallow people anymore? The saying goes not to worry about the little stuff, but I don't know what the little stuff is. Is it all little stuff? And what's the difference between the little stuff and the big stuff? Should we categorize the two? Little stuff to you might be big stuff to me and vice versa. We need to answer these questions since so many people today are saying, oh, that's just small stuff. Well, is it? I don't know. It might be easier if we just call everything big stuff. That's what I think. I once read this saying, don't disavow raw subjectivity. That's an interesting saying. And it's something I read somewhere, but I couldn't find it in a Google search, so maybe this will appear in my session or it won't. I'm not sure about the copyright. But it is an interesting saying, if you really dissect it. And these are my favorite words in the English language, based on their definitions. Banal, pretense, complexity, paradox, oppression, doubt, nuance, create, humorous, provocative, restrained, anxious, subtle, muse, mask, meticulous, disillusioned, and jaded, for whatever that's worth. And while doing a search on the word complexity, I wasn't at all surprised to find the portion of the following sentence as an example of its definition. The complexities of family life was used to help clarify the meaning. Nothing is more complex than a family, or as many have claimed, every family is dysfunctional. You have to appreciate how today's pro-life extremists feel so strongly about respecting life that they're willing to end the lives of those who are against pro-life. So they're so for life that they're against it. They respect the life of a fetus in the second trimester, but end the life of a mature adult in the 90th trimester. Absolutely ridiculous. After being notified by a college friend that one of our other fellow compatriots, his name is Pat, suffered a stroke and mentioned that he was doing okay but had symptoms of slurred speech and limitations with some movement. Summing up Pat was easy. He was born and raised in Woodside in Queens, and he was not at all known for his restraint or moderation. He was funny as all hell. He was worldly, clever, and intelligent and loved nothing more than to be with his friends and family. He liked to drink too, and we had an absolute blast whenever we were with him. So when I replied to my college friend, who was also named Pat, but she's a woman, I told her that all I seemed to remember most about interactions with Pat were his slurred speech and limited mobility, because he loved to drink, as we all did when we were young. When Pat was all lit up, he had a tendency to elicit an exaggerated walk where he would start walking in circles as he was a restless guy. But we had some great times together, and I do stay in touch with him. Long live Pat. I always cherish the times we spent together and all the memories we had during that special time in our lives. And my last comment for this episode. If I was to participate in speed dating, which I'm quite sure would be amusing, I would bring my laptop and phone, greet her warmly, and tell her a little bit about myself, and then tell her that she has the floor and I will take notes. After all, women just want a voice and to be heard and to be able to express their feelings and to have a sounding board, and I would interact, but only a bit, as men tend to go on and on about all the stuff related to their ego. She would be able to say whatever she wanted, and I would be a good listener and go out of my way to be understanding. I mean, how could I lose? I would clean up at the speed dating game. However, once they really got to know me, things would not go so well from there. And then they would, of course, tell all their friends. And I'm going to stop here and see you at episode 15.